What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If it is your first time here, please do hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and then Sean Barkley backwards hurdle over that subscribe button to become part of this journey and this community that we are building here. Now, today, what I want to talk about is Phil Spencer did sit down with both Destin Legarie as well as Parasoli and Danny Pena over there on GamerTag Radio to do interviews talking about, the future of Xbox, the multi-platform, whole initiatives that they're going through right now. Why should you own an Xbox? Different capabilities, things like that, multi-platform and other things like that. And what I wanted to do was kind of take the similarities between the two interviews and then also some of the differences and kind of put it together to see what we're thinking as far as the future of Xbox, how Phil feels about the future, and what consumers can expect so that they can make an informed decision going into next generation. So with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. So the first part of both interviews, they kind of talked about, coming off the developer direct, the really big reveal was not only Ninja Gaiden 2 Black being announced, but also Ninja Gaiden 4, which we know is coming out sometime in the fall this year. Now, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black comes after, Ninja Gaiden 1 was announced and Ninja Gaiden 1 Black was out, which was like a definitive revised version of it. And a lot of people are playing this game for the first time. It's in Unreal Engine 5, and a lot of people are liking it. But the real surprise came with Ninja Gaiden 4 because no one had, expected this game. I know we got some rumors of a Japanese game showing up, but people asked Phil, like, hey, where did this come from? How long has this been in play? Working with Platinum Games and Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja to get this game together. We know Phil had been going over to Japan. He did say, hey, this game was really almost a decade in the making. He was taking a lot of trips out there back in 2017. He said the first talks started. And there's actually an interview with Koei Tecmo and Platinum where the president for Koei Tecmo, he said that we were having difficulty deciding on a plan. So they had a chance to discuss the matter. After that, Phil Spencer from Microsoft suggested that the three companies, Platinum Games, Koei Tecmo, and Microsoft, work together on a new number title in the Ninja Gaiden series. And that's how the project got started. So it's kind of crazy because we know that, Phil has talked about expanding in Asia, especially the Japanese markets. Unfortunately, we did close their only Japanese studio with Tango Gameworks. And so we've seen some really creative ways that Xbox has been able to do these types of collaborations or partnerships. It's like, yes, we know maybe Xbox not being the main, console in some of these regions and things like that, but they're finding out other ways instead of just, hey, spending a bunch of money to make it exclusive and paying $15 million or whatever just to fund the game. It's like, okay, we'll put these two partners together, Koei Tecmo, Platinum, we'll fund it and publish the game ourselves, get it in the Game Pass, and then, people who buy it will get money that way. People that get in Game Pass will get more subscribers and things like that. So it's just a more creative way to put it together, and now fans are loving it. They're people that never played the game ever, people that have been really into Souls likes and things like that are now being like, oh, Xbox has a lot of variety as far as that. And then if they want to just play on their PS5 or any other thing like that, Xbox is still recouping some of that revenue because they did publish the game. And then the next part of the interview is kind of like I guess we could say the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, right? They're talking about exclusivity, redefining Xbox, like, what does all of that mean? And now Phil was asked, hey, what's going on with the exclusivity? We know you're going multi-platform and things like that. And he said, hey, there's no reason for me to put a ring fence around any game and say this game will not be at a place where it could find players, where it would have business success for us. Our strategy is to allow our games to be available. Game Pass is an important component of playing those games on our platform, but to keep games off of other platforms, that's not a path for us. And now Destin asked him the really tough question. Like, he specifically said, hey, are all Xbox games going to PlayStation? How should Xbox fans feel about that? What's going on with that? And then he said Starfield specifically. He said, hey, we know Indiana Jones was, to their credit, a timed exclusive, but is Starfield going or staying? What's going on with it? And he said, no, I can't say that it's not going to go to PlayStation at one point. He said, when he was asked about any game being off the table for going third party, even a big name project like Starfield, Spencer told Destin Legarie to keep games off of other platforms. We don't think that's the path. That's not the path for us. It doesn't work for us. And then when asked about, hey, why should people want an Xbox here? We're kind of killing the brand here. He also said, I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and how that fits into the choices that they want to make about where they want to play. And we want our hardware to win based on the hardware capabilities that we have. I think the difference that we've seen in the last 20 years, and I think this is good because I come from building games, is it's really games first, not platform first. Most of the games that you or I will talk about run across so many different platforms, and those are the games that have success. Those are the games at the top of the charts. And now my little bit of pushback on this point is him kind of comparing, he named different games on the top of the charts like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, things like that. And yeah, we know, or at the end of the year, it's normally Call of Duty, which is now first party, but used to be third party, or Madden, FIFA, EA Sports, all these types of games. And it's like, yes, that is true. So what Phil is basically saying is, hey, people are playing these games and wherever they can play them, that's where they want to go. And it's like, that's true, but you can't really compare first party games to third party games. People are, they'll play Fortnite or whatever, wherever it is because it's available wherever it is. But you're not like, you can't tell me that if God of War was everywhere, then people just wouldn't buy a PlayStation anymore. Like, maybe, but I think because they have built that brand loyalty, like it's kind of hard to say that for sure, right? Because Xbox at one point, that is what was happening. And that's where you kind of get this middle ground of what Xbox, like what they're saying is true, but also would they be doing it if they weren't suffering as far as console sales and things like that go. And that may be a little bit of like whataboutism on my part, but I do think a lot of these decisions being made is because the consoles aren't selling that well. So I do agree, like, yes, it is games first, not console first, but the games kind of push you to pick that console, if that makes sense. But as we've seen, the Xbox sales not being there is kind of pushing them to kind of spread their wings a little bit and put the games over on different consoles. But it is what it is at this point. Like they're not hiding anymore. They're not fighting it. That this is what they're doing. And then when you talk about brand identity, right? Because that's what this all comes down to. Because people were saying like, hey, why an Xbox? What is an Xbox at this point? Everybody, this is an Xbox. The campaign, all that. Phil said, I want us to innovate and make the hardware the differentiator. We've gotten into this space where the differentiation on the hardware has gone down, and it's really been locked to games that you've tried to make the identity of the hardware. I love when I see handhelds, when I see kind of unique things that hardware manufacturers do, and I want our hardware to compete. So let's have our platform continue to innovate with services in the hardware work that we're doing. I think that's our identity going forward, and it's working for us right now. This is where I kind of like, I agree. The hardware, you want to have different features and all that, but for us traditionally, those features it was the software. It's like, what games do you want to play on it? But now he's talking more about the innovation side, the actual features. We know the power, the teraflops and all that kind of stuff, and other features that Xbox has. The Play Anywhere is a great service that realistically, it's very consumer friendly. Do a lot of companies like it? No, because they want you to buy the game in as many places as you can and not have that, honor the game license across places. But it is somewhere everyone kind of needs to go at some point. Xbox is kind of pushing that first. They're doing that. Backwards compat, like playing original Xbox games. That like PlayStation is just now doing that and adding trophy support and all that stuff for old classic games that people have been asking for, and they're putting it in their streaming service. But like, look how long that's taken them to do that, right? You got quick resume, you got all these different types of features, and it's like Phil is saying, that is kind of where we're going to be going for the next gen. Where like, what can we offer to differentiate? And then to also, answer, Paris asked him specifically, hey, what is an Xbox, right? Like, what does that mean? And it says, let's say it, our own hardware, I think is fundamental about what Xbox is. It's not lost to me that Xbox is the name of our brand. In the position that I'm in, I look at hardware as a critical part of what we do, but we're not trying to gatekeep the games of other places for the benefit of it. Let's go build innovative hardware that people want to use to play, whether that's in their hands, whether it's on the television or other places. And I love our hardware team. I spent some time with them just this week looking at the roadmap that they have. I think we're learning a lot from this, like Steam Deck and what does it mean for our games to be there. ROG Ally, Lenovo. What does Xbox mean on those platforms? I don't think we're tuned it perfectly yet. And I've spent a lot of time with the team on that, but I want to make progress there. So he is acknowledging, like, yes, understand Xbox in its name, like box, right? Like a console specifically, but we're trying to redefine what that means as far as we have the ability to take our games everywhere on no matter what the type of, every screen is an Xbox, right? We do want our console to innovate on that. Like he said, he went out, saw the roadmap, which again proves that new hardware is on the way, right? Like, what does that look like? New form factors with handhelds, the streaming box, the portable, the hybrid, whatever they're going to do next. Like, he's met with the teams, he's seen what they're doing, but he also wants to be able to have that identity on every other box, which sounds kind of counterintuitive when you think about it, but at the end of the day, it's their vision, right? A lot of these systems are really the same, especially like, yeah, Nintendo's kind of doing their own thing, but I mean, they're all using the same chips. They're talking about AI, and he mentioned AI too, where Destin asked him, what's going on with that? Is that part of the technological leap when it comes to the next Xbox? It's kind of funny, like Phil, anytime asked with like a quote from Satya Nadella or Sarah Bond, Phil would say, hey, just to be clear, this is what they said, this is my opinion on it. But yeah, you talked about this technological leap, and yeah, sure, AI can be part of that, as we've seen it, because when we talk about upscaling and using power differently when it comes to these systems, it's a lot of people don't like hearing just the word AI. It's like taboo right now, but it's like these things have to happen. When we talk about being able to play and backwards compatibility for multiple generations and stuff like that, like, it has to be digital. This physical only, this not being able to play stuff across, Xbox Play Anywhere and cloud and things like that. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You want the new system to do this and have all this backwards compatibility. You want it to work across all these form factors. Some change has to come that way. In the whole interview with Destin, he was kind of like hinting at the Xbox handheld. He's like, hey, I see you've been hanging out with old boy from Steam lately. What's going on? You were talking about different form factors. You're working on it with prototypes, for the handheld. No, he's sneaking it in there, and like, Phil's not really biting on it necessarily, but we can kind of see what is going. Like, the wheels is definitely turning on trying to see that kind of happen when it comes to that open market and things like that. And Phil said, hey, Valve is right down the street. We talk, we meet all the time. We're working on things and trying to expand that. So I would not be surprised if we do see the SteamOS on that new system. And if Phil's also, Destin asked him about the Series S as well, because we know with the parity that's been promised with that, we've gotten reports of, hey, it's not working, or it's certain people are saying they have issues with it and everything like that. And, as far as optimizing games, certain developers are saying it's a pain in the butt and all that and whatnot. Phil actually said, I actually think we have a real advantage because we've been targeting the S for quite a while, that our games have been built and they're portable across many different specs. Spencer said in the interview, he added, when we look at something like a Steam Deck or ROG Ally or something, we've got this S version of the games that are more tailored to the device specs of a lot of devices that frankly are getting introduced right now. And I think that helps us. So he did tiptoe around the answer a little bit, just because, he didn't want to say, it's no secret, the Baldur's Gate 3, the split screen thing is coming around now with the next update, which is, you're looking at over a year. It's like 15 months since that game came out. But he's pretty much saying like, hey, the Series S, because of how it works and how powerful it is, with what they've been able to do with it, it's been helping them as far as figuring out how to, with comparable specs to some of the handhelds, being able to develop for those, which is going to help in the future with those partnerships. So he doesn't see the Series S as a mistake, as a lot of people do. But then what was kind of funny is the last part of both interviews, they asked about, legacy and retirement and things like that. And for GamerTag Radio, Phil said, when I'm done, I'm done. I don't think you'll see me on stages after retiring one day. I want it to be about the teams, not me. So he's pretty much saying, hey, once I'm out of there, that's it. I don't want to be, having to hang around and all that. I want the future to do the future. They handle everything, and I'm out of there. I'm done. But then what was funny is when he was sitting with Destin, what he said was, I don't want us to be afraid to innovate. Some of the things will work great, some of them won't, but let's stay nimble. Whether it was backwards compatibility, which we weren't supposed to do because it was going to hurt game sales with the next gen, whether it's Game Pass. I remember the debates about whether we should allow free to play on console. Let's make sure we stay as a team that's willing to take risks, learn from the things that work and don't work, and take those risks and be rewarded. We're not perfect there, but it's something I aspire for with the teams. And if I could enable anything in my time here, it would be that we continue to innovate, not to be defined by what was yesterday, but looking forward to what creators and players want tomorrow. I think this was a great answer, right? He's saying, like, I'm not even thinking about retirement, legacy, all this kind of stuff. I'm just every day. He says he truly believes, he said, as corny as it sounds, right? I truly believe that, games shaped and make the world better. These interactive, stories, people to be able to tell their story and their background and bring people together, communities that they build, best friendships, things like that. And like, I totally agree with that. And he's saying, I want us to keep taking risks. Like, a lot of things will work, a lot of things won't. People said, the Xbox Live and Game Pass and backwards all these things that we actually like right now, people was downplaying when they was first thinking about. We've heard these stories all the time, whether it's in music, film, video games, sneakers, clothing, everything. They'll say, like, listen, I only had one more shot and I just threw this on the table. Or like, everyone thought it was crazy when I did it, but then look, it's the most popular thing in the world. Like, that we need those people, those fearless people, and like, yeah, they're willing to, die on the sword and take that risk and be the first one over the, the hill and, take the arrow, so to speak. But that's great. I thought that was probably the best answer in the whole, out of both interviews as a whole. And that pretty much summed it up. That was both of the interviews. I thought they did a really good job. Again, I'm gonna link the description to both of them down below. So check out GamerTag Radio, check out Destin's channel. And Phil gave us pretty much what we needed, right? Everything we've heard. Everyone can kind of make an informed decision for what they want to do. If you want to leave the brand but play the games elsewhere, hey, they don't want you to leave. But if you're going to, go ahead. If you want to stay with their hardware, do it. If you want to play on the TV, go ahead. If you want to stay here and check out what they got for the future, stay in Game Pass, be able to play games day one, they're all for it. They just want to expand because gaming is changing, whether we like it or not, and they just want to get ahead of it. Some people may say too ahead of it, but all out of the big three, they're the company with the most, I won't say, I mean, they're kind of hardware sales and brand identity and stuff like that is probably the weakest out of the three right now. So they're just getting ahead of it and doing what works for them. Hey, for me, as long as it means more games are coming and, I'm thinking about the future, let's say Halo or Gears come out, my friends on PS5, we can play co-op through the new Gears E-Day. Like, I'm all for that. So those are my thoughts on it. Again, thank you for checking out the video. Thank you to all the new subs we're getting. Keep hitting that subscribe button, trying to get us to that 1,000 subscribers. Keep it pushing, growing the community. Leave a like on this video. Leave your comments down below how you feel about Xbox and their future strategy. And I'll catch you on the next one.